Hello everyone. Welcome to Born to Express podcast by Gauravi Jadhav. Here we talk about the things that we usually do not talk about or are not comfortable talking about. But we know that it needs to be expressed. Hi everyone, I am Gauravi Jadhav, a power journal coach who is on a mission to serve 1 million women achieve personal mastery using journal writing. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that is very, very dear to me. Something that I used to not enjoy in the past, but I have learned that it has immense value for each and every one of us. Well, the question that I looked at and thought about in my journal writing process and in my reflection for the past many days is this. Is it okay to be alone? Or you should never be alone? What do you think about it? How many of you agree to the fact that if you spend some time with yourself, if you are alone, it has some benefits? How many of you are petrified or literally scared with the idea of being alone at any point of time in your life? As if you just cannot be alone. You are scared of being by yourself. I guess there are a lot of us who go through that. I have been through those periods in my life too, where I found it very difficult to just be alone. And there were times in my life where I have been extremely lonely also. Now, this is where I would first like to talk about this very topic about spending some time being alone. In this podcast, I'm going to be covering different aspects of the benefits of being alone, what are the things that you can do when you are alone, and how can you really plan to spend that very important aspect of being alone for your mental health and for your own sanity. So let's jump in and look at all of these details in today's podcast. So let's begin with the very first distinction between loneliness and being alone. I know a lot of people, particularly the one who listen to podcasts like the one that you're listening right now, are looking for solutions, are probably alone in somewhere or are feeling lonely in some way or the other. Now, there's a huge distinction. When I say that somebody is going through loneliness in their life, when they are lonely, it's not by choice. It's not that they do not have people in their life. They do have a lot of people around them, and yet they end up feeling very, very lonely, as if they don't have anybody whom they can trust, whom they could communicate, whom they could express with. And the biggest element of loneliness is not being able to express to your own self what you're going through and what you're feeling. Loneliness, as research says, affects a lot of people around. People smile, people look happy, but they're lonely inside. And only a lone person, a person who is suffering from loneliness or at a deeper level from anxiety or depression, they know what they're going through. And they don't really talk about it very easily to others. So that's the thing about loneliness. It's abnormal in a sense because they seem okay, but they're not able to express to others what they really truly feel. And most of all, they're not being able to express to their own selves what they're going through. Now, spending time alone is different from loneliness in this exact sense, is that you have people around you, you do not have issues expressing to the people around you, but you choose. It's a choice that you make, that you choose to be alone, you choose to be by yourself and take out time for yourself and go solo or be alone consciously. So this is the difference between loneliness and finding time for yourself, going solo, following your own solitude, being alone. That being alone for the sake of solitude and peace is a choice, and you know that you can always go back to the people that you want to at any time. Whereas being lonely is not so much of a choice, it's more of a desperation and a helplessness that you can't do what you want for yourself, and that even though there are people around you, you don't know what to do. So it's a different condition from being alone. Now that we've understood the difference between being alone, spending some time with yourself, and loneliness, let's look at what are some of the benefits of being alone. If you have a notepad and pen handy, just pause this podcast and write down what do you think are the benefits of being alone. If you're just by yourself, what is it? Even if you feel that, oh, I hate being alone and I can't be alone, if you do have to be alone, what could be the benefits of it? Just write them down. Pause this podcast right now and note it down in your notepad, diary, with a pen or a pencil. Come on, do it. That's why you're listening to the podcast, so that you can get something out of it, right? Podcasts are usually great material where we can engage with each other. I have done this exercise and it feels absolutely amazing. So I hope you are writing right now. And I hope that you have unpaused the podcast and listening to me right now what I'm saying ahead. So some of the benefits of being alone that I have also experienced and understood is when I am alone, when I consciously choose that time when I do not want people around me, I just want to be by myself, it helps me concentrate better. It helps me remember things better. It helps me be more focused and disciplined in life. It really does help with that. What being alone also has helped me is that if I'm learning something new, it really helps me to learn that skill better and faster. Most of the time when I'm alone, I choose to write, because for me, a written expression or recording a podcast like this is these are the two best exercises for me. And when I'm alone, I can do it at my best and with all my creativity. So that is one benefit that I have experienced in my life. Of course, when I go back to people after I have spent some time with myself alone, whether in the house or outside the house, I feel that I am better at my relationships. I love my family more. I love my friends more. I love my colleagues more. I love what I do more. I just love life more because I've spent some quality time with myself. Another benefit that I have experienced is that I am better at work. I'm productive. I reflect a lot, and I can really think through a lot of my life's problems. And all of that has happened when I have chosen to spend time with myself. Even right now, as I record this podcast, I am alone in the house, and I just love being with myself. And this is not how it has been. For a major part of my life, I have suffered from loneliness and depression. And that was not because that I chose. It was not because it was meant to be that way. I had people around me. I had family, friends, everyone. But I was not connected with my own self. What being alone has taught me is it's not about the time. It's not about the people around you. It's about me wanting to connect with myself. And this is a huge gap. This is a huge lacunae in the education and the way we are brought up. People, our families are not inclined to teaching us these aspects. They don't teach us meditation. They don't teach us how it is okay to be alone. They don't teach us in our schools that it is okay to just have this quiet time and don't do anything right now. It's constantly something or the other on the go. So it's a huge skill that we have not really imbibed and learned. There are a lot of people who say that it is easy for an introvert to be alone and it is not easy for an extrovert to be alone. People who are socialites and like to be with people all the time. People who want to be, extroverts who love to express and talk and be with people all the time cannot be alone. It's a huge myth. Introvert, extrovert, as long as just you're a human being, that's the only qualification you require to be alone. The greatest of the extroverts, when they spend that alone time with themselves, have shown, and there's research on that, and then they show that they are better at being the extrovert too. They are more capable of empathy for others. They understand people better, they understand themselves better. So there are huge benefits of being alone and spending that solitude time with yourself, whether you are an introvert or an extrovert. So whichever category that you want to put yourself into, put by all means, but do practice alone time in your life, because it has immense physical, mental, emotional, psychological benefits. Just name anything and it has the benefits. Now, for your reference, I would like to say that I have read a couple of articles on the internet on being alone, because I had experienced the benefits. I just wanted to validate it, and I saw that there are wonderful resources on the internet on alone time and being alone, and I would highly recommend that you just Google it. One website that I particularly liked is verywellmind.com, and they have wonderful resources. So please do visit that website and dig in to all the wonderful articles that they have written about being alone, on loneliness, and how to get out of all of that is there. Now, what do you do when you're alone? What are the things that you can do? One very, very popular thing that a lot of people practice in the world is do a solo trip. They just travel alone, find a place, go there by themselves and spend the entire time with themselves, and it has tremendous benefits too. So if you're someone who loves traveling, I have loved traveling. I've been on a solo trip and it's so rewarding. It just gives another level of confidence that yes, I can do things by myself. Another thing that I love doing is when I'm alone is to write out my thoughts, because this is the huge gap that people who suffer from loneliness also, because they don't know what to express to themselves. They don't know what to say, what to do with all the thoughts that you have in your mind. And the best thing to do is write or express in some form of the other. I know some people do not enjoy writing. I tell a lot of my clients, if you do not like writing, if you like speaking, you have to write either one of the two forms of expression. We are human beings, and if we don't either write, speak, or one of the two, it's difficult for us to be mentally sane. So you've got to push yourself and get yourself to do either one of the two, speak or write. You don't want to do it with someone else, do it with yourself. You are enough to do it for you. So just pick up your phone recorder and record whatever is going in your mind. Pick up your diary or a book, notebook, anything that you have, even just scrap paper if it's there in your house, and a pen, pencil, whatever tools are handy, which I'm sure anybody in the world today, it's easy to get. You have a laptop, just write and express yourself, because when you talk to yourself, when you express to yourself, that's the highest form of self-expression. The world doesn't need to know what you're going through, but you need to know what you're going through, and you need to see it objectively and then work through it. If you want to know more about how I do it, you could get in touch with me. There's a group in the description. There's a link of my social media handles, and in my description of the podcast, get in touch with me and I'll take you through the processes that I do, so that it's not just about writing, it's about taking yourself through a step-by-step process of self-exploration and learning a way to communicate with yourself effectively. And the best communication in the world is the one where you communicate with yourself. And when you are absolutely okay with communicating with yourself and feel powerful doing it, that is the highest form of power. Trust me, all successful people in the world are best communicators, not for the world. They are the best communicators for their own selves. And that is the skill that we really need to learn. The next thing that you can do is read a lot. Spend that time. If you have that time where you're by yourself, read by all means. Now, what is reading? Reading is a text that someone else has written, or listen to an audiobook, or anything that inspires you. Why? Because those people have taken the effort to share and express their own knowledge. They've done it for themselves, and they see that it's highly valuable and could be shared with others. I've written a book too. And you could go to Amazon, type Gauravi Jadhav, and type "You Can Heal Your Past" and read my book. It's a great piece according to me, because every time I read it, I get inspired. Another great thing that you can do is paint, any creative form. Paint, meditate, sing, dance, anything that just put on music and start dancing. These are the things that will relieve your internals. It will make your alone time more meaningful and magical for you. Exercise is a good form. I have done that. I remember as children, my brother and I, whenever our parents were not there, we used to put on music at really high volume and we would just dance like mad. And those were the best times of my life in that sense. Now, what else do you think you would like to do? There are some people who volunteer. There are some people who go out. So alone time doesn't mean that you have to lock yourself in a room. It could also mean that you go out like a solo trip, or go out and help others, unknown people whom you don't know. Yeah. So volunteering in some way for some cause is also a great way to spend alone time. What I have also done in the past is I've gone for a movie, and I saw the movie all by myself, and it was so much fun. And I was like, yes, I can do this too. So all of those little things that you do alone gives you a great amount of confidence that yes, life is worth living, and we can do many wonderful things together. Now we come to the most crucial part, is how do you actually be alone? What do you do? If you have too many people in your life and they would not let you be alone, then how can you really be alone? So being alone is a time that you need to demand from yourself, from your friends and from your family, and you need to plan it. You need to say that this is 1 hour or these few days I just want to be by myself. I don't want anyone else in my life, and in only those times. And it's not that you'll be out of reach or something, but if you choose to keep your phone switched off for that 1 hour or 2 hours in a day or during the week, then people around you need to know it. So you need to communicate that I would really like to be by myself and spend time with myself. It also means that you need to consciously eliminate distractions around you, which would then help that alone time, because you would not be involved in Facebook and social media and then feeling shitty about yourself, looking at how wonderful all other people are doing. So if you don't want to end up feeling any of that, eliminate the distractions and focus on yourself, because you are the best person in your life. You are the healer in your life. You are the ultimate solution of your life. All your life's problem solutions are right inside of you. And it is only when you're alone, spending time with yourself in some way, that you allow those solutions to come out. So by all means, give yourself the gift of solitude. You deserve solitude. You deserve me time. So go ahead and do it. Okay? And that brings to the most important aspect, that you've got to learn to be okay being alone. If the very thought of being alone worries you to death, it's a huge problem. Then you've got to tell yourself, and there's a lot of research that has shown that people would rather consume alcohol or do drugs than spending time with themselves. So, and that's also one of the reasons a lot of people are suffering in the world, because they don't know what to do with their minds, they don't know what to do with themselves. And if you really want to, and if you're already in that zone, trust me, you need to just learn to be okay being alone. Learn to be okay with what's going on in your mind, and tell your mind that it is okay. You've not probably learned this skill earlier, but you can learn it right now, and that it is all right, and that you are the first friend, you are the first relationship in your life, you are the first gift that life has given you. And all of the other people in relationships, yes, of course, they are very, very important. But being self-aware, focusing on self, being with yourself is the greatest asset. That's the greatest gift. That's the greatest life's expansion that is waiting to occur always. And trust me on this. So, my dear friends, I hope you loved the content on being alone in this podcast. Do let me know in the comments. Do write back to me on my social media handles on how you felt about this podcast. And we shall explore more such topics where I talk about the kind of things that we usually don't like talking about, and things that are vulnerable, things which not many people talk about, but it requires to be spoken about. So see you in the next podcast. Till then, take good care of yourself, spend some time with yourself, go solo, be alone, and enjoy your own company. Thank you for listening.